Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Were you nervous at halftime against Miami?
Well, I'm not going to say I was nervous, but I had thought that was pretty impressive, that first drive that we made down. We just got a field goal, but I sure thought that we were, let's say, that we were the best team. And I don't think I ever quit thinking that all day long. Now, it was really neat to see start clicking and see, especially in that third quarter, see us have the execution we had.
Jerry, is it more nerve-wracking to go into a game as a huge favorite or go into a game as a huge underdog?
Well, I don't think nerve-wracking. I would say nerve-wracking. I would say that it's kind of humorous to realize how difficult when you're up 20 or 30, 20, 25 points when you're the spread is saying you'll have that kind of success, because you all know that ball is oblong, so to speak, bounces a lot of different ways, just like the onside kick they didn't get, just like the roughing the kicker they got. Those things come to play, and before you know it, you're right there in the middle of it. Then you let one happen that shouldn't happen. So that's the NFL, but that's what makes it great.
Jerry, when you watch a game like that and you see Dak, going deep an awful lot, even though he wasn't hitting on everyone, do you watch the game like a fan in that sense, where you're getting up on the edge of your seat, or do you like hey, let's just grind it out and get this win and go on?
No, I'm liking the different, really the message that we're sending. These guys obviously look at these tapes and make their living studying your tapes of weeks and weeks before, weeks back. In the case of if we were playing a team in December, they'll look at this stuff and they'll see that we really are intent upon taking that ball deep. We've got some receivers that can get open. That keeps them off of you. The other day they were playing way back, the defense, leaving us the middle area of the field open real good. But the point is, all of this impacts, all this sends messages as we move forward in the NFL. As you know, we play all of our division opponents again that we've played, and we've got Philadelphia twice. So, they were not going to line up. They're going to stop some of this stuff we're doing. We've got to be ready to do something else, and we've got to let them know we can do something else.
Jerry Jones here on The Fan. Obviously, you saw enough in Kellen Moore to make him the offensive coordinator. But since the season started, Jerry, what has stood out to you, or what have you noticed about Kellen and working with him week to week to develop these game plans and really unleash this offense?
Well, he's not afraid to pull the trigger. And I had a great friend of mine pass recently, Boone Pickens. And Boone sent a letter out to be sent after his death. Said, if you're reading this, I'm gone. But in the letter it said, I'm often asked why I've enjoyed some of the success. And he says, because I never got the ready aim syndrome. I always had the ready aim fire. And that's the key. And Kellen will obviously make the call, and he'll call the play and go for it.
Jerry, Robert Quinn came out with his debut, and it looked like he was shot out of a cannon. And I know that you are going to try to emulate his celebration sack dance at future times. What did you think of Quinn's debut?
Well, that's one of the best I've seen riding that pony. Now, you know what's fun? Sometimes Zeke will do something like that. He'll put a towel on, or he'll put some shorts on or something, and head down through the middle of the dressing room, kind of spanking himself as he emulates the riding the horse. But and that's before a game, so you can see how what a asset he is on and off the field to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking Zeke Prescott, but Zeke Elliott. But bottom line is. Robert Quinn brings that to the table as well. He's a veteran. On the other hand, he plays with the exuberance of a rookie, and his game is just sheer energy. And if he's got an issue at all, it's kind of thwarting his tendency to run by the quarterback a little bit. But, boy, he's back there, and he's messing with him. And he's just an outstanding contributor. I don't know when we've been in better shape if you look at Lawrence on one end, Quinn on the other, and everything in between. We've got a good defensive front. A lot of credit should go to Rod and guys that really have developed these guys. That Hyder's really special for us inside and out. He got a lot of position flex. He played every position. Hyder did last week.
Jerry, you give the big contracts in the offseason, Jalen Smith, Tank Lawrence. They've caught a little fire over the last couple of weeks, maybe not living up to the deal as of yet. But has the defense as a whole, do you think it's underachieved a little bit, even though the points per game are low, giving up a lot of yards?
Well, why don't we maybe point to that our offense has been so outstanding that it's kind of caught our attention. But the facts are, when you don't, in the NFL, you keep somebody from scoring a touchdown, that's pretty stellar work. And so what I do see that is important is a defensive group that is, to overuse the word, evolving, coming together. We've got some young guys on this defensive front. We're playing a lot of young guys. We're getting a lot of people played in that secondary. We're actually playing more linebackers than anybody would have guessed, and we've got a heck of a rotation. A lot of fresh guys coming in and out on that defensive front. I think it's healthy.
Jerry, it looked like Darian Thompson filled in pretty nicely for Xavier Woods on Sunday. How optimistic are you that you can get Xavier back for the Saints?
Well, I don't know, but I do know that we're looking maybe to see him practice this week, which tells you all you need to know. We'll see how that goes, but you do miss a player like him out there, and he's really just becoming the beginning of what Xavier Woods can be. So we missed him. We miss him when he's not out there, and we'll see how he practices this week.
Jerry Jones joining us every single week on Sean and RJ on the home of the Cowboys, brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Jerry, when's the earliest that you think you can get a special feel about a team? Can you tell in training camp? Does it take a quarter of the season not till you face a great opponent? Can you remember back through your years and say, oh, I remember when I knew that we really had something here?
Well, I think, of course, the key word that your question has is team, T-E-A-M. But, boy, you start seeing parts, especially areas that involve depth. And you start seeing a Pollard have some things that he's bringing to the table. You see that in training camp. You see him step up there. You see his naturalness, letting the blocker do the work for him, and then all of a sudden you see outstanding explosion, power, ability to cut quick feet. Then you know that's going to help you. And you can see that. We saw that pretty early, if you recall. And that's pretty typical of the way when he ran the ball in Memphis. Well, a lot of people, he had a big back ahead of him, a 230-something pound, 240-pound line big back. Well, he's big. Pollard's big. Pollard weighs 210, 212 pounds, but, man, does he have smoothness and quickness. But you see that, well, then you know you're going to have another weapon that you can inject into your plan as you go into the season. You see that all over. You see special guys as it might pertain to depth, and then you see every now and then you see a player speak and say, "Man, he may be out there a lot by the time we get to mid-season." Especially on younger players, you have to handicap those, knowing they're going to get better as they go through almost 2.5 college seasons is what a pro season is. They're going to get better, and then you have to also handicap your veteran players.
Jerry, we don't like to give our buddy Mark Colombo any credit, but when you look around the rest of the league and look at y'all's offensive line, I mean, it just seems to be night and day. You have gaping holes to run through. Dak has time. I mean, how high a level is your offensive line playing right now?
Well, first of all, Mark is one of the most intelligent people, Mark Colombo, that I've been around. And, of course, his social life reflects that. He's big into music. He's got a demeanor that was built to be a coach, much less an offensive line coach. And he's got that, but he's sharp as a tack. And he really will take any person that he's around and create football mentality.
Yeah.
That's not just toughness. That's just an attacking toughness. Toughness can be defended as just being able to take it. Well, that's not enough for Mark. He wants to give it. And, for instance, Lyle Collins, has been such a focal point for Mark to use as an illustrator. He calls him the enforcer. But his attitude in there, his giving it out attitude, is something that our offensive line is really benefiting from. And, of course, Zach played the best game, arguably the best game that I've seen him play, and he's played some good ones. But he was just almost perfect the other day. And so I'm talking Zach Martin. So, yes, we've got guys out there that are very special, and we've got depth, and we've got young depth on the way. And so all of that is good. That front's a big part of this team.
Jerry, did Colombo ever ask you to make a cameo or guest appearance in one of his music videos?
Free reign video.
Well, I don't know that I've sent him my tape. I probably can do some of that, some things that he's just heard about. That's a good idea. I think I'll send him over some tape. I'll get it back. I had a high school reunion out at the stadium this weekend, and it was great to see everybody and see a lot of old friends. But I was reminded, one of the girls gave me a picture, and it was when I was in about the 9th grade, and she could put her hand on the top of my head. I was that short. And she was short, this particular girl that was talking to me. And I used to dance, had those blue jeans rolled up past your ankles, and had that look that they had back then. But I was a goober, but I didn't know it.
Jerry Jones joining us
Goober.
here on 105.3 The Fan. Saints this week. There's no Drew Brees. It's Teddy Bridgewater. In a way, is it a letdown that it's not the great Drew Brees where you don't get the full measurement of your team against a Super Bowl contender like the Saints?
Oh, no. Boy, they have so much team-wise that to compete with, as they illustrated against Seattle, out in Seattle of all places. But listen, from top to bottom down there, Mickey Lomas and, of course, Sean, and they're built for action and built to play and built to win football games. And they're thinking way ahead. They look around corners, to use some cliches here. But that Teddy Bridgewater, everybody knows that he's a talented football player, and he's very capable of, with people like Sean Payton tutoring him, he's very capable of being all you want at quarterback. And so, no, I don't see anything but a real. We're going to have to really have a lot going for us to get out of there with a win.
Jerry, any major developments with Dak or Amari or anyone else contract-wise that you'd like to break on the show?
Oh, well, not today. I just think the best thing that I can say is how well both those players are working together. And if their status right now has anything to do with that, then let's keep it going. And I'm talking their overall status. But, boy, that Amari put on a clinic out there on route running, as you all know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You're talking about going deep. You're talking about showing speed. You're talking about willingness to take it deep as a quarterback. I don't know that you can scare them anymore for the future than to give a clinic on Amari Cooper's route running. Those routes were unbelievable to have his size and quickness in and out those routes. So that's got to get him a lot of attention, and he can win with that attention. But boy, it sure makes it a great day for potentially for a Cobb we all saw what he brings to the table. He's just a instinctive playmaker. On the interception, he came back and arguably made the best play of the game when he knocked the ball out of the interceptor's hands. And it was just such an aware play. And that's what you got when you get Cobb on the field.
Jerry, is there any chance that Jason would get a contract extension before the end of the regular season?
Well, again, I'm not ignoring your question, but I certainly wouldn't want to respond in any way because that's just not what we'd want to do relative to that area of our business.
Jerry, is way far down the road, but fans are already petrified about Kellen Moore getting taken out of here and stolen from somebody else. So we just want to put that in your ear of do whatever you can to keep Kellen around before someone comes and looking to steal him away from you guys.
It's great to have I'd put at least three coaches, three players that are three coaches that are having that kind of respect. It reminds me of the days when we were having Dave Weinstead and Norv Turner, and you look around and they had rules that you couldn't talk to a coach during the season. And I was having owners of teams calling me and arranging for secret notes or secret messages so that you could let them know and communicate with those coaches. And I think it's great. I think it really is a real boon to any organization to have coaches that other clubs want.
Jerry, thank you for the time. Life is good. Let's keep it going, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week, guys.